What's up, everyone? Welcome to the 10th episode of Trench Talk. My name is Anonymous22 with my usual co-hosts, LTR and NRV. And then this week, we have a special guest on, ZK Mike. Mike, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Living the dream. Just sitting here, staring at my computer all day, not really having fun, but kind of having fun. NRV, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Was up a lot on some trades and then gave most of it back. Kind of depressed about how the Borpa launch went yesterday. But yeah, just grinding every day.
LTR, how are you?
Pretty much same. Nothing too crazy. I feel like the market lately has just been a little extremely PvP. But with the new ETF filings for Solana and possibly some political support, I think that could change, obviously, within an instant. So just staying around, sticking around for sure.
Yeah, I feel like everyone's really on edge. It's super PvP. We're still dealing with celeb coins, the chop in the market. And then we have the Solana Doraemon, however you say it, team launching basically playing a game of Crash tokens. It's been a week. Everyone's just like super mad at each other. Emotions are high. Everyone's yelling at each other, getting pissed. It's pretty funny. But I know we have a couple of topics to talk about today, but I think we should start off with Mike. Would you be interested in kind of giving a little introduction about yourself and a little backstory?
Yeah, sure. So, background. Let's keep this very brief and quick. I got into crypto around 2017. I was doing ICOs. I basically just shoved like all the money I'd saved up from high school and stuff into that. I actually ran it up pretty good and then round tripped everything and then stuck around from there. And then I was actually going to go work in a different industry after college, but then I ended up working in crypto starting like 2021 and then got more in the research side of things. I've been trading in and out. I've messed around with pretty much everything. I used to just do strictly on chain. I've kind of pivoted more to sex related coins. And yeah, pretty much the background. Been around for quite some time. And yeah, besides that, if I wasn't in crypto, I think I'd be playing poker probably full time. But yeah, kind of about me a little bit.
Elite just turned into a full poker player. I don't understand anything about poker. It's not with my knowledge. I see like Jingtao like talk about poker all the time on the timeline. I'm just like completely lost.
It's really not that difficult of a game to learn. Like it seems like when you don't know anything, it seems really difficult. And then once you like, if you spend like a month just learning, like if you did like Doug Polk's course or whatever, and just spend like a month doing it, you'd be like, oh, this is actually pretty easy. And then when you actually start playing games live, you're like, oh, these people are actually, it's just like free money over a long enough time horizon. Well, once you get to the higher stakes, it gets a little bit more competitive. But like at the low stakes live cash scene right now, it's literally just show up and don't be an idiot and make like, if you're playing in Texas, you can walk away with like, you could turn like $100 plus an hour. That's pretty lucrative.
I am located in Texas. I'm about to start DMing the method. New
Okay.
paid group.
I can send you some resources if you guys want to learn.
I might. I'll look into it. I get bored nowadays dealing with bullshit on chain, and sometimes I need just a breather, especially during the week. But what else were you going to venture into? You said you were going to venture into something, a different field. Was it poker?
No, I was gonna go work in the entertainment industry.
Oh, interesting, nice. Yeah, I dropped out of engineering school when I was starting to resell stuff during COVID, and that's how I somehow ended up here. It was quite funny.
What were you selling, like shoes and stuff, or?
Shoes, Nintendo Switches, non-essential items, dumbbells, weights.
The Walmart stalker, bro.
Bro, I was a Walmart looper. 30-mile radius, the Walmarts couldn't hide from me.
Literally the Walmart diddler.
I was cooking them things too. It was funny. But yeah, I was doing that and like in online electrical engineering classes, and I was like, fuck this, I'm out. Peace.
So were you like botting stuff? Is that how it works, or were you just like doing everything manual?
Um, I was buying Nintendo Switches and also going in store. Well, I can't tell you how many times, someone on Facebook Marketplace would be like, "Oh, how'd you get on this? I couldn't get it." And I'd be like, "I just have a guy." No, it's just me running bots and me going to
Got a plug.
going to Walmart like 6 a.m. every single morning, just crashing them. It was
Dude,
great.
the workers' reactions to you inside must have been like so funny. Like they're like, "Dude, this kid is here again in the morning, just
Bro,
buying
but it
like
was like,
20 sets of weights." Like that would be so funny.
yeah, dude, I can't tell you how many times I'd be like,
Did you ever get banned from
um,
Walmart or no?
yeah, I'm just opening up my own gym in my garage,
Dude.
trying to make some extra money.
You're like,
That
they're
was,
like, oh, this is like the 10th time you're opening up a gym this week. Like,
bro, I was clearing them out. It was
Literally
bad.
Bradley Martin, just the Texan college kid version.
No, I was straight hustling. But all right, we have a lot of topics to talk about. Is there any certain one you want to start into?
I guess before we go into the topics, I was gonna ask Mike something. I got introduced to Mike, or like had you put on my radar by a friend of mine named Ben, actually, like a while back. I think you were doing like limited invite links or something for your. I wouldn't even really call it like a Telegram calls channel. Like you just kind of put
it's
your
not a
thoughts
college
there.
channel.
It's more like
Yeah, it's just a
a
journal.
diary type thing. And there's like
Diary.
certain people in the space. We obviously talk about like like grinding in the trenches, like mostly on chain stuff on this pod. But there's definitely like certain people in this space that I think are really good at like more macro stuff. And when you were like going through your background, you were talking about how you used to do like more on chain stuff. I still like think that you're doing on chain stuff because I'm in a small group with you, and I see you're obviously paying attention to stuff on chain, but it seems like you are doing more just like macro trading, looking at Bitcoin, ETH, maybe beta plays, stuff like that. I'm curious like how that's like evolved for you and like what made you pivot, and like also curious like are you actually doing anything on chain right now?
Yeah. So the question was, how has that like progressed from?
Yeah.
So the question is like, how did I progress from like primarily being on chain to focusing more on? Okay. Yeah. So I mean, I started with a pretty small amount of money in crypto. So naturally, unless you're like playing on perps, I mean, I just don't think it's like a smart thing to do for most people using perps. But I mean, you kind of have to start on chain for the most part. I mean, this cycle's been, there's been opportunity where you could have just been like, if you bought like Bonk or put like 5K on that at the lows, I mean, you'd have a very good starting stack. But yeah, I mean, on chain, it was just kind of like grinding. You kind of have to do, someone wrote a really good thread about it way back. I forget who it was. Maybe it was Degen Spartan or someone about starting. But you basically go from like on chain, and you like kind of build up a stack, and then you can start playing mid caps, and then which is more like sex based, and then progressively, on and on and on and forth. And I think I ended up just kind of I was never really good at on chain, and the way it's kind of played out the cycle, like I was pretty good when it was like, I guess these like kind of Ponzi protocol almost, but they were like actually it's kind of like reminiscent of like DeFi coins a little bit. In that transition in like 2023. Now it's just like all memes, kind of being able to track on chain and stuff,
Yeah, it's so different now.
different narratives. Yeah, so like I wasn't very good at that, and I ended up just gravitating more towards trading on centralized exchanges. And I think kind of the logical progression to be good at that is you can't just like I mean some people think you can just draw some lines and be really good at it. Maybe it works for people. But I think the industry's kind of advanced so far and the asset class itself has gotten so intertwined. I mean, we have ETFs now. It's like you can't just analyze it from like a TA perspective. You have to really understand all these different things like TradFi, like what's going on in the AI space, so what's going on in macro, like global liquidity, and you kind of just progressively go down these different rabbit holes, and yeah, that's kind of how I've ended up there. And then the second part of your question, I'm not sure if that answered the first part, but the second part was what was it?
Yeah, no, that was a great answer. I guess the second part was like if you're actually doing much on chain right now, like I imagine you're seeing what's happening, obviously, like even if you're not trading stuff too much. I'm just curious, like, are you trying to do anything on chain? Like, or are you like watching maybe like what your friends buy if something looks interesting, or have you played anything recently, whether it be like political coins or certain memes?
Oh yeah, yeah. So I would say for a few months I wasn't really actively doing anything myself on chain. I mean, I was definitely still buying stuff, but like me putting an effort into it wasn't nearly as much as right now. I spent probably the past like I don't know month and a half getting back into the swing of things, revamping my wall watching list, getting I mean just kind of like watching stuff. Um, so yeah, I'm starting to do more on chain stuff now. I don't. I've never really gotten like sniping, but I like playing like the post launches and then being like, oh, like that could be something that goes from like 1 mil to like 10 mil or something. This is something that could go from like 10 to 20 to like a nine-figure play. So I've been doing a lot of that on chain, and I think it's kind of interesting, like to have a skill set in both almost. I think it's kind of important when you really want to analyze like the entire space because I mean, Bitcoin's such a psychologically driven asset. Most things in crypto are, and you kind of get a feel like of how people are thinking about the market. Like the past, like I think it was what, I mean, right now a little bit, but the past like 2 weeks, and you guys probably can attest to say if this is true or not from your experience. I mean, that could be completely wrong, but it seems like uh, you go through these like lull periods on chain where stuff is kind of just like slow bleeding, right? And it kind of aligns with Bitcoin price action. And I kind of use stuff like that um, to kind of gauge where we're at in the market. Um,
Yeah, no, we were talking about it last week. How you know if Bitcoin and ETH is just absolutely nuking, you'll see your current on-chain bags also nuke, and it's definitely correlated at the moment, especially with like ETH. I don't know if you agree, but Abba was saying kind of like some of these like big massive meme coins are kind of ETH beta just of how they move with Ethereum at the moment, and it was pretty kind of obvious yesterday. I think we saw Mog have like a huge candle. So I definitely agree on that. It's really good to kind of have your toes dipped into both, paying attention to major prices and then also paying attention to on-chain.
yeah, for sure. And there was like one thing. I'm not sure if you guys were definitely more hip to it when AI stuff was really going crazy. There was that I think it was like a week period where there was just like five AI coins on chain on ETH that
Yeah.
just ran like you know what I'm talking about. I forget what they were called. There was a few that ran from like sub 10 to like 70, like 50-ish in like a week, and that relationship between like what's getting bid when in those types of periods of time where we're risk on, there's people like there's coins going like 20%. That translate like the stuff on centralized exchanges. I feel like translates to stuff that's getting launched or stuff that's running on chain, and I don't know. It's kind of interesting because it's like when you get those periods, I mean, those are super lucrative, and that was also kind of a reason why I wanted to do more on chain stuff. I was like, oh, I kind of saw this AI stuff like super early, but then when it came time to like, we actually got like a small window of period where AI stuff was running. I was like, oh fuck, like I wasn't able to capitalize on that or feel comfortable doing it. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, I think especially that's partly why memes have been so strong is that the centralized exchange coin memes like Mog, like Pepe, like Bonk and stuff just became so strong and are still kind of the strongest coins. So I partly think that's why on-chain memes specifically, rather than like on-chain AI or on-chain utility, have been so strong. Just because people want that next Pepe, people want that next Mog because that is the strongest leader in the market currently. And it is interesting to see. I will say though that it almost seems more that volatility to the downside affects on-chain more. I would say when we chop, actually on-chain does pretty well because people get bored and like to gamble. But even upside volatility, like when Like if BTC put in a 5K to the upside candle, I would say on chain is kind of dead for just a little bit, just because people are all then chasing perps and stuff. So it really is interesting to see how they work together. Um, yeah,
Yeah, totally. I know what you're talking about for sure. But yeah, I feel like to your point, it's just there's all these different relationships of flows of money, and it seems silly not to pay attention to one of those variables, right? And versus someone else. Like if you can do the work to do it, then why not, right? So
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think like all of us are probably constantly staring at Bitcoin and ETH charts all day, every day. And for our listeners, if you guys aren't doing that, you definitely should, because if you have like a large bag and something on chain and Bitcoin or ETH start nuking, it's probably going to impact your bag slightly,
yeah.
depending on what you're holding. Like it just happens. People get risk off. They'll sell and try to protect their bags, whether they're stabling or just want to get out of the meme coin or whatever they're in.
I will
Somebody's
say
going to sell.
though that if you can't like stare at the charts all day, just get TradingView on your phone, set some alerts at like round price levels, and you'll just like get an alert on your phone, like a text message, and it'll be like, "Hey, ETH just crossed this threshold," and I think that's a great way to like stay in touch without necessarily having those charts up if you're not at your computer all day.
So, Mike, like you mentioned earlier, like there's the space is a lot different now. You have to look at things more macro or more broadly now that we've got ETF type stuff involved. What are your thoughts like with the ETH ETF coming up? Like, are you expecting that we see bullish price action? Do you think it's kind of priced in at this point? Obviously, we've been through a cycle with Bitcoin already, and now we see the Solana ETF stuff is getting filed by different companies. I'm just curious, like, what your thoughts are on the ETH one specifically, and like what that may do to price for ETH. You don't have to make like a stern prediction or whatever, but I'm just curious to hear your thoughts and like how it may impact things on chain.
yeah, so yeah, it's a really tricky scenario right now, right? Because you guys know Hustler, right? He's been putting out a lot of good analysis on Bitcoin, and I generally agree with his take. And it's something that I've been looking for, like a blow off type of move on majors since like honestly since like what first top. I thought we were gonna get it the move on in like March, this like blow off top move to like 80, 85 ish, and then I thought we were going to go into like a more like midterm downtrend. But yeah, to answer your question about the ETF, it's a really tricky scenario because like everyone's trying to figure out how people are positioned into it, and this move right here, we definitely got a lot of leverage out, and now people are discussing, okay, like are the flows going to be good? Are they going to be bad, underperforming? And I honestly don't think that people are positioned well after this move, particularly for the ETH ETF. And I think we could see one of those like really quick, fast moves where we get like a 3 or 4 day period where ETH is going up a lot, like maybe like 45 to like maybe even like 5K, and then we see a bigger pullback. Um, yeah, it's just a tricky scenario, right? Because we're not in like a great environment right now, but we are still in a bull market. It's just getting the timing right on this thing because we could, I guess, break down from this, and that would really suck. But yeah, they're also launching the ETF at a very bad time. Like they're launching it what I think next week potentially, like July
Yeah,
4th.
I think it's like the second or something.
Yeah, and it's not a great time. At a very high level, I don't think the flows are necessarily going to be. Uh, I think it's going to be a similar dynamic to Bitcoin, right? Like people allocating to these ETFs, it's like, yeah, sure, like the flows initially could be really good, or they could be really bad because of the ETH stuff. But over the long term, it's like, yo, like these things and these products and like Bitcoin and ETH, and if you want to extrapolate down altcoins, like people who are going to actually like allocate to these things very long term, it takes a lot of time for them to actually decide to allocate that money. But when they decide to allocate that money, it's a shit ton, right? And that's where it's kind of tricky because you see all these guys, and I respect on alt, but you see all these guys who are analyzing it from purely a price action perspective. It's like, yo, like you don't know exactly when someone's going to come along and be like, oh, we're going to allocate like $100 million to this shit. And the people who are allocating this thing, it could take them 6 months to finish the due diligence. It could take them a year. And I think there's enough people in the market who understand this dynamic of this new net buyer that's going to be coming in for Bitcoin and then probably ETH, and the ETH ETF might just take the same amount of time as Bitcoin. Sorry, it's kind of a long-winded answer, but
no, I think that's a great point though, because in crypto we do move so fast with news and with research and with everything launches, everything, that we do forget how long TradFi stuff takes. So I think it almost becomes like a self-fulfilling bear prophecy, just in the short term at least, because people have this inflated expectation of what's going to happen within a couple days versus what's going to happen within a year. And it does create an interesting dynamic.
Right. And there's this, I also feel like there's a very big like disconnect from people who are like native crypto predominantly and understanding that aspect of how slow TradFi moves. Like the people in TradFi equate Bitcoin like as risky as we think of like Bonk and like meme coins. Like that's how some of these people think.
Yeah, you're right.
And you have to, and if you're not analyzing it from that lens, then it's kind of tough to analyze the landscape. So yeah, it's probably not the most concrete answer, but yeah, I think very mid to long term, like probably after September, we'll just continue going up. This ETF launch scenario is very tricky, and yeah, I would wait it. If I had to like really bet on it, I would say there's like a 60% chance that we move up and like a 40% chance that we break down here. I think if that breakdown happens on Bitcoin, like we work down to like, I don't know, like 54, 52, and then it gets snapped up pretty quick.
Man, I would love to see like a 3 to 4 day or a week long period of just absolute mayhem with ETH price ripping up and on-chain degeneracy be full risk on. I would love that, dude.
Yeah, that would be nice. What then, Mike? What are your thoughts about like the Solana ETF getting filed before the ETH one even goes live? I think that's really interesting because like BTC and ETH weren't like truly that fast or that close to each other as far as filings, whereas like the Solana seems to be coming really quickly after the ETH. And I've seen some pictures from like Mudino and stuff about like that roller coaster chart where it's like the smaller and smaller loops about the ETFs, and I want to know your thoughts on that.
It's a good narrative. I don't know enough about. I don't know shit about legal or anything, but my friend Rodeo is really good at analyzing and these things, and it's been right. And I kind of just defer his opinion on these. He basically said that I'll send you his tweet about it, but he basically said that he thinks it's absolutely going to get rejected, but he thinks Sol should be priced as election beta from here on out. So I think that's a pretty interesting take. Yeah, I'm pretty bullish Solana. Like I wasn't bullish when it was going up a lot, but now that it's given like a good pullback and people have capitulated enough, I think this thing is pretty close to being bottom. It should be like a top performer. It's a good narrative. They're working on a lot of really good tech stuff as well. So not that people really care about that, but
just for you guys listening, the guy he's referencing, his Twitter @X is rodeo_crypro. It's like crypto but without a T. Also, you mentioned Hustler earlier. What's his at?
Hustlin? HUSSLIN_.
Yeah.
The blue square little cat.
The guy who has pictures with like every single famous person in existence.
Hustlin _
He's got motion.
I got it. Yeah, I actually follow this guy.
Yeah, no, he's been having some really good takes recently. I follow him.
He's
But
a great trader.
yeah, the ETH ETF kind of launching into like this June-July period. I don't know. I don't have too much experience, but literally the past 3 years, June and July have been like absolute horseshit
August
for like
was
crypto
hot
prices.
last year, though.
I feel like. What for? What?
August was really hot on chain ETH last year.
Oh
But
yeah,
June and
yeah.
July were
I don't know what it
absolute
is.
dog
June and
water.
July just trash. So it'll be interesting to see. And then I don't know. I'll die on this road that Solana is going to be huge. I don't know. Obviously, no one gives two shits about anyone building right now, but
I think they're doing the right things,
assume-
though. Like the blinks
I
and
assume
stuff.
building will come eventually, and I feel like they are taking the right, correct steps. And I feel like if someone wants to build a product, I feel like it'd be best on Solana, honestly, other than, maybe someone making like their own chain. But
Oh yeah,
I think
that's
Solana is the
something we
way.
could delve into as well. The L2, all the ETH L2s and their failures, especially with Blast and how that went down. I don't think that was surprising, but a lot of people were surprised, which I found frankly funny, just with the TVL and how much activity was actually happening on Blast. That was really interesting.
What I just won't understand with Blast is it's just like, this might be the most worst take ever, and if it is, please tell me, because this is just what makes sense in my head from I don't really airdrop farm. We were talking about Blur and Blast, and I was just like, so the first one was the first Blur airdrop, kind of caught everyone off guard of how profitable it was. Then the second one was, honestly, it was diluted just because of how good the first one was. But it had a dip, and then Blur like rebounded very hard of all the Blast news and stuff, so it was still good. And then now it's like, I don't know, it just feels like there was an original coin, there was a derivative, and then there was a derivative of a derivative. And I don't know, for me it just made sense, like it was just obviously going to be super diluted. Massive whales were at play to make very small gains. Like, it just wasn't worth it. I don't know. Like, I saw more worth, like, playing Athena and staking into some of their pools than doing Blur. And honestly, I think I actually made way more money doing that.
Some of the tweets were so funny, though, like that one guy who staked like 52 million worth of ETH and got like 100k airdrop, and he was so pissed. I was like, bro, you still got a free 100k at the end of the day. Like, I understand the user risk of staking that much, but like, I don't know. The whole tweet was just kind of funny. Or like how gold was essentially like useless in the end, despite that's what like everyone thought they were farming for. Or like how you had to download the app to claim. So much interesting things, like just from a like investor perspective, and also like they obviously had some KPIs or something where like, oh, if everyone downloads the app to claim, then we'll be at the top of the app leaderboard or something. The whole thing was just hilarious, frankly.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. So I only worked with NFT people starting, and NFT people either they went the coin route or they went the airdrop farming route, and I just honestly feel like way more money and way more time, way more effort was better put into hopping into coins than into airdrop farming. I've seen some obviously very easy money made with like no risk, which I can completely understand that. We have to put up we have a very risk heavy thing in coins. Only thing you're risking is the platform just rugging or something. But I don't know, I feel like I'm happy with my decision for going into shitcoining rather than into airdrop farming like heavy.
I also agree, just because like also it's more fun. Like those Blur farmers, like props to them for grinding that, but dude, I could not do that all day. I think I would go crazy. The amount of like how boring that is, just checking your bots and constantly seeing if someone dumped on you like Machi or someone. And also NFTs absolutely crash. Like what, Bored Apes are like 80th or something. Like, yeah. Props to them, because a lot of them printed though.
Yeah, I don't have the mental capacity to just mind-numbingly do that all day, every day. I'm close with people that did that, and props to them for getting whatever airdrop they got.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure that it's like fully worth it season after season. Obviously, I mean, I got a great airdrop for the first Blur, but like the next season, could not do that, dude. It's just extremely boring. And when it comes to Blast, like I personally didn't really play that too much at all. I did like the fantasy top thing, but I'm just in general like not a big fan of locking a lot of my liquidity up and just like not being able to make aggressive plays when I need to on chain when something obvious pops up. So like trapping a bunch of liquid ETH up on Blast was just like never attractive to me.
I don't know. I just thought Athena was way more worth it, and ended up being. But I guess should we talk about the fun event we had last night?
Sure.
I think that'd be very fun to talk about.
Oh my gosh.
The event we are talking about is the lovely presidential debate between Mr. Trump and Mr. Biden. It was quite sad to watch, honestly. And I also want to know what they gave Biden during the break, because I want some of what he got. Because whatever it was, it woke his ass up.
Oh, he made a tweet about his secret stuff, which is fucking hilarious. Like, the president is tweeting about drinking secret stuff. Like, the whole thing was just wild.
Literally, like, I don't know how long it was, but like the first couple of minutes, maybe it was 20, 30 minutes, I don't know. He literally looked like a skinwalker, like someone dead in a body. It was quite sad. Like it was like, wow, this is the guy that's running our country. He looks literally like he could 50% chance die at the podium right now. I will say he did start doing a lot better, but I swear it's because they gave him something. I don't know what it was. Gave him some Adderall.
They put out the clone, bro. They got him out the cryo chamber.
Clone Biden. I don't know what it was. It was crazy. Mike, did you watch any of the debate last night or no?
Yeah, I watched the whole thing. It was what I expected. Just him, Trump, just ripping into him, not really answering questions.
Yeah, they were kind of just yapping about
There were so many funny tweets about the whole situation, like clowning Trump for not even answering the questions and Biden just not even being present. It was just like, how are these our two front runners? Like, really? It's just like, oh, how the mighty have fallen.
It's honestly crazy. I think we have one more debate coming up. Apparently Trump had asked to have 4 debates, but I guess we're only getting 2. I don't think the other one's like till after the summer, like September or something, but it's crazy, man. Like, Biden, when he gives like a speech, like he has like a teleprompter to read off of and has his like handlers that give him directions and stuff, and even then he still loses his train of thought. But in a debate situation, like, gosh, like somebody edited like a video clip of him just like losing his train of thought or saying words that don't even exist. It's just,
well, we do have 1,000 trillionaires in the U.S., so we got that going for us, right?
I was also laughing about him lying about his handicap and saying he would play Trump straight up if Trump would agree to carry a golf bag the whole time. I'm a huge golfer, and I thought that shit was hilarious.
Bro,
there's no way that guy's a 6 or 8 handicap. It's just hilarious.
No, I saw the clips on Twitter of his golf game. Throw him up 1v1. Whoever wins. Bad. Whoever wins, dog. Trump is actually pretty good. What's up?
What was that?
Trump would whoop him, right?
Yeah.
Trump's a good golfer. Yeah. Trump actually like cooks. Not gonna lie.
He's got a pretty ugly swing, but he's an older guy. But he plays very well.
But like the motion is still there. Like
the
the fundamentals are still in his swing.
Still
like
got that motion.
Biden, it's just like, dear Lord, he's old.
Get that man some ice cream, bro. They're not that far in age though, which is interesting.
No, they're not. I was surprised too. I didn't know that. They were what? He's 4 years younger than him. Or something? Yeah, 82 versus 86.
Yep. Something like that. It's so people are like, "Oh, Biden is this ancient being." I'm like, well, I mean, they're both kind of ancient. Well, they both are ancient, but like, it is interesting to see just how different people digress. You know, like as far as age, and frankly, neither of them should be. I don't even think anybody that old should really be our president, just because like, you're controlling future policies, and yet you're probably not going to see that future realistically. So. Yeah, it just the whole thing is crazy, man.
Yeah, I actually just sat down on my laptop or laid down just to watch the debate, but I heard that there was just like pumped up phones being created about like every damn sentence or every weird word that was made. I wasn't even trying to play that at all. Apparently there were some big runners on ETH last night. I think there was one called The Big
TBD.
Debate, I believe.
Yeah.
That went
It was like a
really
bundle
high,
thing,
actually, but it looked like it got sniped heavily though. Like obviously some insider stuff going on with it.
It was bundle, and it was like hella tax too. So I don't think anybody actually really cooked on it. It was one of those things where, yeah, sure, it ran to like 33 mil,
Yeah.
but the tax in the bundle put it so high, and that people were just like, I don't know, like 2x, even if they bought really early, which is always interesting.
Yeah, it's still sitting at like 11 mil. The thing is, though, I still think that there are certain Politifi coins that are going to continue to have staying power. Like,
Oh, I totally
Trump's
agree.
going to have more rallies. I still expect him to say MAGAnomics, so that coin is still going to be strong. Then you're still going to have the MAGA coins. I still think there's too much drama circling around the DJT coin with Shkreli and Barron. That stuff with Shkreli is insane. I don't know if you guys saw, but
I did.
his whole Twitter feed, he was just like posting receipts, dude. Like all of his text messages or Telegram messages with Barron, which is now like a deleted account, plus whoever the other kid was like Christian or whatever his name is. Just crazy, dude. I don't know what that coin is going to do. Probably not well, but there's definitely going to be staying power with a lot of these political coins.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
what
like,
do you guys think about that whole sector? Oh, sorry, my bad.
oh no, you're
I
fine.
cut you
Go
off.
ahead. I was just
I
gonna
was
say
gonna,
like Trump and stuff is probably gonna do well, and then also I would mention that like a lot of the other Democratic candidates like Gavin Newsom and Michelle Obama, their Solana coins ran heavy last night. I don't know if those will stay because I think it's too late for Biden to pull out and them to pick another candidate. But yeah,
oh,
What
so
were
you
you going
guys
to say,
think he's
Mike?
gonna say? I was gonna ask kind of more broadly, what do you guys think about this whole sector? It doesn't really seem like there's that much stuff. There's people, MAGA and MAGA hat, and then all
Trump.
the yeah, and then there's all the ones that are like derivatives of both, pretty much. And that seems like
Yeah,
it's kind of it.
yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
pretty much it.
I think it's going to be very, very difficult for any new coins to come out to actually take center stage. I
I
think
agree.
MAGAnomics is a very rare one because it's clearly a term that he's created and is going to continue to use throughout his whole, his whole campaign leading up to the election. He'll probably even use it during his presidency. But if I'm playing any of these coins, man, I'm getting out like well before the election. Like I'm not gonna take the
I
risk of
agree.
like yeah, if Trump wins or it looks like when he wins, as far as like what everybody's saying, yeah, it may get a pump after that. But I mean, how many times have we gone through sell the news events in crypto? To me, it's pretty damn obvious that there's going to be a huge sell off on these before the election. Like not just days before, like maybe even a week before. But you are going to have people that hold on and celebrate and pump the coins for the election. But if you have a huge bag, I think it's pretty risky to hold it all the way through that.
I will say there's still a trade to be made on the vice president when that gets announced. So if you can somehow pick the right VP coin, whether that's Vance, whether that's one of the others, I think Vivek said that he's not. So obviously all those coins have basically went to zero. So there's a lot of risk right now because you're basically gambling. But there is still a trade to be made on Trump's VP. But otherwise, yeah, I agree with NRV. I think most of the ones that are going to pump have already kind of pumped and established themselves, like the main runner Trump, et cetera, et cetera. So the plays are really to be made with those, unless Trump, comes out with a new slogan or says something really controversial and that gets really popular on Twitter. That's kind of what everyone was watching the debate for last night, whether there would be some new slogan or some really funny moment that really stood out as far as wordage, but nothing really happened. Yeah.
The one thing I would say is I wouldn't rule out the possibility of some kind of like actual Trump associated coin coming
I
out.
wouldn't either.
Because when Shkreli was talking about and like the DJT coin and like defending himself, he basically spoke about how they heard rumors that Donald Trump Jr. was going to launch a coin and was working with somebody in the space, and they caught wind of that, so they kind of rushed or pushed their timeline forward to release sooner than they actually anticipated to. Obviously, that one's kind of been fumbled, so to speak, the DJT one, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw like a Donald Trump Jr. one. Maybe not after all the drama that's been created. Like obviously you have lawyers and the Trump family like very aware of what's going on. But with a meme coin, man, like I mean Trump has done his NFTs before. Like I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. Like if Trump actually dropped a meme coin. That would go absolutely insane. I still think that would be like the most insane coin we've ever seen. maybe next to if Elon Musk ever dropped a coin.
Yeah, I think that'd be really interesting though. I'd almost think his presidency would have to be guaranteed because like him dropping a coin could, I think, potentially turn a lot of voters off that don't like crypto because there's still a lot of right-wing people that absolutely despise crypto. And I think crypto is a smaller subset of people than we think as far as the voter population. So it would be interesting to see how that would affect both his runnings and if, more people would try and go after him legally.
I don't know. Like, he's openly accepted crypto donations for his campaign. It's on his website, right? Like, for his campaign site. He's launched his NFT stuff, and he's still very public about that. Like, he did the gathering thing at his Mar-a-Lago place, and, like, invited, like, a bunch of holders or whatever. I don't know, like, the details about that. But he's, like, very clearly pro-crypto, and he's talking about it as well. So I think that would just be another step of him embracing it. I don't think it would be a huge risk if it was done the right way. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I would keep an eye out because I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something crazy like that.
Man, MetaMask getting sued. That's rip.
Is that real?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Consensus is MetaMask or whatever, so...
Oh.
Christian securities broker.
There's some funny stuff coming out that, like, Consensus is going to have to sell all their ETH to pay for the legal fees. It's just like fucking great for ETH. ETH is so cursed.
I guess it's time to move to Rabby Wallet now. If you haven't already.
Bank. You should already be on Rabby Wallet, frankly.
I should definitely get on Rabby. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you're not on Rabby yet?
No, not yet.
Being able to delete wallets and stuff,
yeah, that'd be
so
nice.
Good, man.
That's
pinning
such a pain in the ass on MetaMask.
Yeah, my old MetaMask for like NFT season back, 2 years ago. It's like 100 plus. Just you have to scroll. It's so bad. Plus the swaps, like this is just a little sidebar, but Rabby is basically an aggregator, so it just aggregates OpenOcean and all of the other aggregators, DeFi Llama and stuff. Whereas MetaMask just like uses its own swap and charges an insane fee.
But what I don't like about the SEC suing MetaMask is just by doing that, they're going to be able to get all the MetaMask data records. I mean, obviously it's on chain and whatnot, but to be able to get that data, like that's
I think they already
crazy.
have it.
I'm
Guarantee.
getting off that shit.
Yeah, you're back. Let's go. You say Cole?
I have no comment. I don't want to say anything bad about anybody on here, dude.
Yeah, it's just gonna be the most stacked KOL. Oh my gosh. Hush Hogan.
Colby Covington. Alex Jones,
bro. I'd buy an Alex Jones coin ASAP. Like, dude, I would full port an Alex Jones coin. Like, where are those celebrities, bro? Like, Hulk Hogan launched a coin, and that was, like, amazing, but then it was, like, a hack. I was like, oh, come on, man. Hulk. Alex Jones? Yeah. Yo, contact me, Alex Jones. I'll set you up with some Solana bundlers. We got you, homie. It should just be called Frogs Gay, and then it's like a Pepe Beta,
Do you guys want to talk about this Gotbit thing?
Oh my gosh,
water coin?
That was so fucking funny, bro.
It's pretty crazy. The way that they
basically what they did is like basically illegal, right? And they just like admitted it on Twitter. Oh my! I mean, Gotbit is absolutely
is it illegal
already.
Though?
I don't know. The way they worded it, isn't it? Wouldn't it be considered market manipulation? I don't know. I mean, it's a shitcoin, so I don't care. But it was so funny.
Call it that.
Market making, market manipulation. Yeah, we're raw dogging. Pump funds.
Mike, are you familiar with this, by the way?
I saw it, right? They posted a screenshot of them selling or something because of a pre-sale.
They
said
absolutely
they moved the price down.
Slaughtered the chart.
They were trying to like justify like how bad snipers are for the space, and like they basically distributed tokens ahead of time and dumped
to
on
combat
everybody
the
that
sniper
sniped
candle.
the wallets. And then they bought back at the bottom to still ensure a fair distribution and make sure that their pre-sale contributors still made profit. I think it was like they said. Like
I think the scammy thing about it though is like it's basically hindering normal market behavior as far as like price discovery and everything. It's just like the sniper candle will exist on any hype launch, and if you're just gonna absolutely nuke it, then yeah, I guess the funny thing is this probably wouldn't happen on ETH because they would just tax it and then they'd make so much money, which is funny because it was Solana. And unless you use Token 22, which we could go into Borpa and how that worked out for them, because Token 22 is awful. But it is interesting to see how it played out on Solana, just because, like I said, I think if it was on a different chain, they just would have put heavy tax on it, make a ton of money, and then pump the post-sniper nuke with the tax dollars.
I don't know. Kind of looking forward for us to like get out of this period of time. But
Amen.
Besides that, not really. I'm learning how to code right now. I want to automate a lot of stuff and like data, but besides that, not too much. Just kind of chilling out, taking some time off.
Yeah, I think it's a good time to touch grass, as they say. Like, yeah, you'll miss some stuff, but I feel like in general, it's just such a crap market right now, and it's so PvP that it's just not. I think part of crypto is also just longevity. Like, if you just get burnt out by PvPing during this time, and then like you're not fully locked in for when it is easy mode, you know, I would rather conserve my energy for like when it's PvE versus PvP. Yeah, it's like calibrating your systems before it's go time.
Similar to Mike said, I'm looking forward to getting out of this kind of choppy environment. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how the market reacts to the ETH ETF stuff. But separate from that, looking forward to Jesse Pollock getting off his honeymoon. Hopefully, pushing some stuff on.
I forgot
base.
about that.
That'll happen in like a week. Like
Oh
I think
gosh.
he gets back on like the 4th or the 5th, I think. So he's still like retweeting from his honeymoon stuff, but hopefully we see some more activity on base. There was that French coin that dropped. I think I mentioned that last week. That was an absolute shit show. Like, just absolutely terrible. Glad I didn't French Montana coin. Private sale or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, they were even selling from the bundled wallets. It was just terrible. I never bought it. And then separate from that, I'm going to start doing a little bit of trading on TON. I just want to get more familiar with just like the process over there. I think there's definitely going to be a lot more plays. It's been interesting because like even when we're not trading or making plays, like you mentioned, it's important to just like stay up to date, get the reps in, see what's happening in the market. Like people have asked me like what I do when I research stuff. Like it's like a ton of different things, and like half of that is just paying attention like what the market's doing, like what people are talking about. And over the past like week and a half, 2 weeks, it's just been like this big snowball effect of like everyone talking about TON. Like, oh, how do I bridge? I'm moving to TON. I'm gonna put some money there and start trading coins there. I've even seen ULTR say like, wow, people actually aren't G'ing coins over there. Like they actually seem
It's
to
changing.
be
All the
good hold
Solana
and
devs
go
are
up.
coming.
Yeah, so like a lot of Sol people are moving over, so the devs are naturally going to follow that as well and start rugging and dumping on people. But I do think you should at least be paying attention to it and understand how to buy, what tools to use. I know some of the bigger name bots are working on developing stuff for TON right now.
The hard thing is it's not like there's not really gas or anything, so just the way the chain is set up, like the version of Pump Fund there is called Wonton.fun, and it has to like go down every 30 minutes to index all of the buys on the coins. So it's just such an interesting chain because of how big Telegram is. The chain frankly just cannot really handle the type of TPS that it would, require. Kind of like it would need something like Solana or a gas system like ETH to be much more effective. But I definitely think there's going to be opportunities just because, like 20% of the world's population uses Telegram. So like a Telegram blockchain just makes sense to me.
Yeah, it makes sense for sure.
there's always easy money on new chains just because people don't cheat like originally. If you can just get there, like I think the greatest advice I have is just like fade laziness, you know? Like if you yeah, Bitcoin sucks, but if you bridged originally and bought runes and bought not runes, but BRC20 and ordinals, like even if it was a pain, you would have made money. If you bridged originally and bought all the ton coins when there wasn't as much infra, even though it was a pain, you would have made money. So I think just with anything, it's like if you have that urge to not do it because it's going to be like a pain in the butt, then you should probably do it in crypto. Yeah. Thanks for coming on, Mike.
No, yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
It was great to hear your insights because we're all, frankly, dummies when it comes to macro. Left curve, left curve.
Alrighty, guys. Thank y'all for coming on. Peace.
Peace.
See you guys.